not exactly in the ballpark. I think it's next Sunday, or the Sunday after that. I don't remember which one, but I know it's soon. So I thought it'd be fun because, surprisingly enough, there's a lot of horror dads out there and a lot of favorite horror dads. So we're going to focus on a couple of the really fun ones that I like, and I think it should be fun to take a look at that. But yes, I hope you're all doing well today. Anyway, going into the best dad in all of horror, we're going to be going into one of my favorite games, an absolute classic, and really, I think, probably one of the best horror games ever made. We're going to be going into Silent Hill, ran by Mr. McSqueezy. Feel free to take it away.
Hello there, yeah, I'm Mr. McSqueezy. Feel free to call me Mac, that's sometimes easier. With me on comms, I've got Saff, or Saffirel. Do you want to say
hello? How you doing? Yeah, good to be here. I'm Saffirel, and yeah, you can call me Saff, whatever you like, and yeah, let's go.
Yeah, as Ecdycis says, yeah, we're doing Silent Hill 1. We're doing the All Bosses category, which is a fairly new category in the scheme of things for Silent Hill 1 speedrunning. It kind of follows the 80% route, but we essentially, we kill 2 extra bosses. It's nice. You can see a bit more of the game. And it's PAL friendly too. But we're going to get started very shortly. We play on easy mode. So we'll go 3, 2, 1, and timer start. So we'll kick off straight away. There's a little cool bit of tech that saves us a little bit of time to start us off. This is called the Ply Walk, I believe. And quite simply, we just let Harry, the best dad in the world, do about 5 walking steps forward. And that saves, I think, like half a second or something.
About half a second, I think, yeah. About half a second.
But it may not seem, big in the scheme of things. But this is a game that is timed by IGT rather than RTA. So at the end of the game, we get a nice little result screen that shows us just how fast we were. So this is a game that's fairly optimized, I would say. Sort of minor movement mistakes can cost you quite big time. So while it may seem insignificant, it's well worth doing, just because. But it's probably my favorite bit of the game is Harry's 8-year-old daughter, Shell. Just turned 8 last week, by the way. Have any of you seen her? She's somehow faster than Harry. If we could play as Cheryl in this game, I think that would be a lot easier for speedruns. And this is lovingly called Nightmare Alley. Basically, we're going to just go to the end of this alleyway. Cheryl has just somehow zipped right ahead. We can no longer see her.
Let's hope we get some good RNG here. Let's get grabbed.
That's it, yeah. So at the end of this, Harry's going to say a few funny words. He's going to talk quite fast as well, which I'll explain in a few moments. But yeah, we're going to try and strafe into a grab. We want to have a quick death here.
Yeah, this is a big reset point.
This is, yeah. Oh, nice. Good grab. And quick
Not
death
bad.
as well.
Not
Very
bad.
nice. So that's sort of the ideal outcome there. I've been practicing this the last sort of couple of days. I've been finding that Harry will kind of zoom right past the grey children there, as they're called, or they'll just ignore him completely. So I'm very glad that worked well on the run. You'll see us using a fair bit of different movement capabilities here. So you'll see Harry has the ability to strafe. He'll also walk occasionally as well. But my favorite mechanic is Harry bonking.
What's going on with me?
It's something where you'll think you're going to get through a door quite nicely. But Harry himself will say, no, you know what? Let's just have a little feel for it. Let's have a little bonk.
Yeah, when Harry reaches like max speed, he basically becomes bonkable. It's about 6 steps. And yeah, if you run into the door straight or the wrong way, then he will bonk it. So that's always fun.
Always. Some of you may have clocked on that Harry is talking quite fast. What we're doing is we're playing this on fastest speed, which is a feature on the PlayStation 2. It doesn't save us any time in-game time-wise, but it does mean that some cutscenes are sped up, and certain music tracks are sped up as well. This is quite notable in the UFO ending, where the UFO song will play at 2 times speed, or something to that effect. and when that ends, you get another track play in place of it, which I just find really funny. It's quite a nice feature. Now, Harry's current quest here is to find 3 keys. We've left the cafe, and we need to find the keys to Eclipse. So they're scattered all about in sort of old Silent Hill, I think this place is called, in quite convenient locations. Now, Harry does know where the keys are, but he will need to find a bit of paper in a few moments to tell him where to go next, which is a little message that's left from Cheryl. Harry's really gunning for that Father of the Year award. He's trying to make sure that he and Cheryl reconnect quite quickly. No spoilers, but he kind of meets Cheryl again, kind of.
Yeah, so even though we know where to go, you do have to check the papers first, or when he goes to the doghouse, Harry's not going to realize that there's anything in the doghouse, so we do have to check the papers. And
yeah, so there's a very fun bit coming up now. There's a mailbox which is just kind of not hidden away, but there's a nice little gap and a fallen tree which lets you go across to the mailbox. And I just always think to myself, how did that happen? Why could Harry, what if he falls off the branch? What if there's a jumping mechanic in the game? There kind of is a jumping mechanic. If you can jump backwards, if you hold the run button and the back button down, you can jump backwards, which is kind of cool. It's not really useful for us in the speedrun, though, unfortunately. Apart from maybe any percent, I'd say, if you're doing the out of bounds, the run per out of bounds, and you need to reset the room, the backwards jump is quite good in that respect. But as I say, this is the all bosses category, so we don't actually do any of the out of bounds. So it makes
really
it
comfy.
Yeah, it's a much comfier run. I think I've reset this category a lot less than I have the the any percent category. And there's also a skip at the end of the game. It's called the Sybil skip in the amusement park. Now that is a interesting one because you can't do it on the PAL versions. I've kind of gone out a bit too early here as well. But on the NTSC version, you can essentially skip the entire amusement park. So all bosses is a category that is PAL friendly. So if you own a European version of the game or other PAL variant, then you can actually run the all bosses category and be somewhat competitive. And this is the doghouse meme that everybody loves. I had it in my head I was going to try and get the doghouse text up there, so I'm sorry about that. But I'm trying to go fast. And yeah, this is the sort of first section of the game, first area done. We use those keys obviously to get through into the keys to Eclipse door, and as you'll see, the area is now gone quite dark. It's eclipsed, if you will. We're going to make sure that we turn our light off here because there's creatures here. This creature is a I keep calling it flapper.
Affectionately known as a flapper.
That's a flapper, yeah. I can't actually remember the official name for it now.
Air Screamer.
Air Screamer, that's the one. Yeah. So they are kind of attracted to light, I feel. I don't know if it's sort of official, but I find that when I've got my lights on, they are, yeah. Yeah, they tend to chase a bit more.
Funnily enough, dogs aren't, I don't think.
I don't think dogs are they? No.
Dogs and scratchers aren't. It doesn't affect them.
No. But interestingly enough, grey children are, to some extent. And we're going to use a little bit of tech here, probably about sort of the next 5 minutes or so. So it's a bit later on. But we can actually manipulate enemy positions, which helps us quite a lot in trying to get through unscathed through the school. I think I speak for most SH1 runners when I say the school is a not a fun place to go through for your first time.
It's a daunting task.
Yes, lots of enemies to dodge, lots of items to pick up, lots of puzzles. But I say lots of puzzles. There's one key puzzle, the piano puzzle, which I guess for your first casual playthrough is always daunting. But we're going to just pick up a few items. We've got a chemical. I'm going to go to the next room. we're going to use the chemical on this nice, I think, porcelain hand. So we're going to say goodbye to the hand and hello to the gold medallion. And we're now going to go down to the school's clock tower. Dead by Daylight enjoyers will maybe recognize this area as the Midwich Elementary School. Very cool of Dead by Daylight to give Silent Hill 1 the idea of the school courtyard. So we're going to use an item here. We've got one more medallion to get, and this is where the piano puzzle comes into play. Now,
there's actually one really neat fact about the Dead by Daylight map in Silent Hill.
Oh, is there?
Yeah, it's a really weird Easter egg, but it's actually homage to the game, because right now you already did the hand puzzle.
Yes.
And I know right now you're going to the piano puzzle. In Dead by Daylight, if you fix the generators in the piano room and the chemistry lab, once you've done all the generators, the clock tower will actually open.
Oh.
And you'll get a special treasure chest, and it's usually like really rare item in there.
I'll have to remember that next time I play.
Yeah, there's also like a seal of Metatron in there too.
Ah, cool. Okay, I'm definitely doing that next time. But yeah, that was the piano puzzle. We've done that pretty smoothly. Basically, if you're using
very well
so far, yeah, I'm very happy with this so far. So this is actually our first bit of manipulation. We're gonna walk forward, light off, and then turn, and then you'll see that the grey children there, or grey child rather, they attempted to grab, but they didn't quite manage it. So we're gonna do that twice. That was the first time. We'll do it once more.
Yeah, taking that little walking step there allows you more room basically, so they can move a little more forward. And it's 9 times out of 10 you'll get by no problem if you just hug the corner there. And it's a nice little strat if you don't want to get grabbed. Save health.
Yeah, sometimes if you're unlucky, they'll just kind of be in the way, and that's just life. You'll have to kind of accept it and move on, really, in that case. Yeah. So yeah, this is our second ray through. Nice little locker vortex there. There we go. Nice and smooth. So that's school 1. Gone through the clock tower. No seal of Metatron here, unfortunately. Maybe next time. But just going back to the piano puzzle, if we're using a PS2 controller or PS1 controller, or well, any controller, as long as it's got analog sticks, you use the D-pad for movement, but the analog sticks for cursor movement. So things like puzzles, you'll notice the cursor moves a lot faster on an analog stick than it does with the D-pad. So it's a little bit of free time save there if you're not using it already.
There are a few instances as well where if you hold analog going straight in certain rooms, it happens about 4 or 5 times that Harry won't walk towards a door. So it's very handy to know that in certain places.
And actually one of those was the... I've matched a bit too early there. That's the other thing with this game as well, is you're kind of wanting to constantly mash X to get through doors. But there are some doors that you'll examine, and I was maybe a little bit preemptive there on my mashing. These things happen though. So I'm going to say thank you to the school demon for giving me the shotgun in the toilet. The shotgun's actually the only weapon we really need to use from this point onwards. We did use the handgun earlier on for the air screamer, or the flapper, if you will, in the cafe. Actually, with the All Bosses route, while it is similar to any percent, we do need to pick up 2 extra boxes of shells. And thankfully, the school has 3 out of 4 of the boxes that we need to pick up. So the school's really efficient in that respect. There's lots of pickups that we rely on later on. There is an ampule with the shotgun shells we pick up as well. An ampule is a healing item. It gives us full health. And I think it regenerates health for a few moments afterwards as well.
It does, yeah, for a little bit afterwards. It's very, very effective healing item. But they're very rare, as you can imagine.
I think there's about, 3 or 4 in the game? Something like that?
3. Is it 3? Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's 2 in school and 1 in hospital, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And this is a nice little break if you have a little drink or anything like that. You can't skip this cutscene. Basically, we've just put a rubber ball in a hole. We're going to flood the other hole to release a key, which we're going to go and grab in just a few moments. from the school courtyard. You'll notice as I go down the stairs or up the stairs that I will take a small walking step in between. Just because controlling Harry is a bit like controlling an 18-wheeler with 9 wheels. He doesn't quite want to move in the way you want him to. He can be quite sticky at times as well. So sometimes a walking step in between just helps you kind of maneuver Harry a bit if you need to. So this is our key. Do a nice little strafe here, which hopefully I won't mess this up. There we go.
Very nice.
And you'll notice that I just turn my light off in between there, just to make sure that I don't get grabbed by the grey child in that corner. So a few more rooms left in school.
Yeah, that strafe movement is pretty hard to pull off. It's very common. You see it in a lot of runs, but GG's on that movement.
Thank you. Yeah, you'll sometimes either overshoot the stairs or undershoot the stairs.
Yeah.
And nice little jump scare here. I'll let this play for a little bit. There'll be a cat in here. Unless, no, there's not a cat in here. Sorry, the jump scare. There it is. There you go. What you'll find...
The cat is in the normal school, I think, isn't he? And he jumps out.
It is, yeah.
He reaches a cruel fate by the hands of a mumbler or something. Or maybe I'm thinking of the PAL version.
I think something like that, yeah. There's so the expectation being that if you've seen the area in the normal school and you then go to Otherworld school, you kind of expect a cat to be in there, but no, sadly, the cat has gone. He's gone to Just Cats, which we'll walk past later on. There's a few funny shop names in this game. I think this is the game that has Konami Burger, I feel. Or do they maybe switch that to Happy Burger for Silent Hill 3? I can't quite remember. Oh, here was a bit.
Burger sounds right.
And that grey child there was a little bit happy. So we've got our first sort of kind of major route change, if you will, from any percent to all bosses. Rather than going straight to the valve room, which is just to our side, we're going to go up here and we're going to pick up a few shotgun shells, if Harry can see them, and the ampule as well for safety, just in case.
Yeah, that's the first instance where the two routes diverge a little bit.
And then this is our valve puzzle. So the right valve, we always want to turn on the first option twice. And then the valve on the left, we're going to turn the second option once. And hopefully... Nice. That's very, very smooth. I'm very impressed with that, actually. What you'll often find is if Harry sort of misplaced sort of diagonally once or not quite far ahead, he'll kind of miss that second valve and you'll try and rearrange him, which is quite frustrating to do on a run. First boss, split head, 3 shots to the head with no mouth open. And then we're going to do another 2 shots with the mouth open, and that's split head dead.
Yeah, if he grabs you in his jaws on any difficulty, you are dead, basically. So you have to be careful of that. But it's a pretty basic fight. 3 shots to open his mouth, 2 to finish him off. It's first boss down. Let's go.
And thankfully, on easy mode, his jaw movement is a lot slower. If you're playing it on hard mode, it's a lot faster. I think for knife only, they do it on easy mode, but it's still particularly rough of a fight because, again, it's sort of one dropped input or sort of one mistake can cost you the run there, really.
It is pretty scary.
And a good joke amongst Silent Hill runners is the second boss is not too far after the first boss. The second boss isn't traditionally an enemy, it's actually a room. We call it the bridge control room, which allows us to move on to the next part of the run and leading to the hospital. But first, we're going to go to the church. We're going to see our boy JC. He's going to bless the run for us, and also the upcoming bridge control room shenanigans. I often find this corner here, actually, that dog, if I'm kind of not thinking or just kind of out of my head for a little bit, that dog will often bite me or I'll overshoot this little alleyway.
I've run past that numerous times.
It's so easily done. There's another enemy here, another air screamer, which we kind of want to be cautious of. He's in a good position there, actually, and hopefully he's not going to chase us. Yeah, very nice. And there's a bit of manipulation you can do here as well down this alleyway, actually. There's 2 screamers that are planted either side. If you go too far over to the right in this alleyway, one of the screamers will start taking off and chase you. If you're too far over again, the second screamer, this one that's now following me, will also kind of follow you all the way out. I think it's a very specific line you've got to take. The line we took there was good. We didn't get chased out of the room or the alleyway. If we do get chased, what you'll find is we have to kind of bob and weave a bit to not get hit.
Luckily, the second guy never really catches up with you anyway, so it's comfy.
Exactly, yeah.
As long as your movement is tight.
There we are. He's blessed the run. The BCR should now be smooth. If my practice was anything to go by earlier anyway. So we just picked up a key item there, the Flaros, which in the lore, what that does, I think
it's just a piece of junk.
Just a piece of junk, yeah. We don't need to worry about it too much. We don't actually use it in the run. But Harry himself, he will use it in a cutscene on a lesser, I think it is, or a projection of a lesser. And then things kind of got a bit funky there, but we're quite a way off that yet. But we have got the second boss now coming up, the good old bridge control room. And you'll kind of see why, given how Harry moves like an 18-wheeler sometimes, that it can be an awkward room to navigate. There's lots of tight turns. So we've got tight turn number 1 here, and then tight turn number 2 here, and then a few more coming up. Now that was actually pretty smooth.
That was very well done.
You'll sometimes overshoot or undershoot, and sometimes Harry will kind of run in front of that railing that's just behind him. Sometimes you'll go to use the menu and the key's not possible to be used. It's very, very strange.
Also, Harry can fall down the stairs, which is very common on EPSX.
I think I've actually had it happen to me on PS3 at one point as well.
Yeah, it can happen on console as well, but it's quite rare. It's mostly an EPSXy thing, I think.
Yeah, I think Duck Station's had a few reports of it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've there's actually a few different variances between the versions. So on the PS3 version, using certain weapons in certain areas will emit a very strange and high-pitched beep, which if you're playing it casually, you might think is normal. But
it adds to the atmosphere.
It does, yeah. It's Akira at his finest with his sound design. As far as I think, it is just a bug. And there's another route change actually coming up. So as I say, because we're doing all bosses, Sybil herself does count as a boss. What we'd normally do in any percent is we go into the next 2 rooms, sort of adjacent to this director's room, and pick up a bottle and some red liquid. We don't actually need to do that anymore for all bosses. We just skip that entirely. Because unfortunately, if there are any Sybil enjoyers out there, we do have to take care of her, unfortunately. But it's all for good reason. It's for speed, and it's for all bosses. This next bit here, you'll sort of see my cursor movement here. Yeah. This is where
nobody likes the elevators.
No. But this is where the D-pad comes in handy. It just makes the elevators that little bit speedier. And again, trying to navigate Harry to do these tight turns and get the elevators at the same time, it can be a bit of a problem. That went relatively smooth, I'd say.
It's very nice.
And now we're in hospital. A very rusty hospital. I would not want to be going to this hospital if I was injured. Harry, of course, does not have a choice. We're making him go through here, but pretty fast. And we're going to pick up 4 items now. We're going to pick up 4 plates. There is a blue plate, a yellow plate, a green plate, and a red plate. I don't think it's quite in that order.
Our next puzzle.
And we're now picking up a blood bag. Because, you know, most good hospitals have blood packs. And we're meeting our friends, the nurses. Now, these nurses, they are not quite like the Silent Hill 2 nurses. They're a bit more reserved, I would say. But they can be quite grabby. So, for instance, this one here often can grab you on the way in or the way out. But thankfully, played ball there. And there's another little bit of tech coming up here as well, actually. Movement tech. We're going to enter this room and we're going to do a little strafe. Turn right. And then hopefully, yeah, nice. Pick up that red plate quite smoothly. Sometimes you might be encouraged to just kind of run around the desk and pick that plate up. But if you strafe into it, it's a very, very comfy strat. Sometimes you overshoot it, but oftentimes you'll get through there.
Yeah, it looks harder than it is. It's actually a lot comfier than running around the table, I find.
Yeah, and a lot of this is muscle memory, in fairness. Oh, nice little glitch here, actually. I think it's a glitch anyway. You meant to use the blood pack on the tentacles at the end of the room, but you can actually use it as you enter the room, so it's a little bit faster for those that are speedrunning. There's also a little bit of camera trickery as well. Some rooms that I enter, I'll hold the camera button down to get a more favorable sort of sight on where I'm going. Because some rooms you'll have the sort of camera facing Harry's front, and it doesn't make it easy to sort of see where you're going. This is a nice little puzzle. The solution, I think, is in this room. It tells you where all the plates go. And we've got a cool bit of tech here as well. We've got a nurse skip. Hopefully. Oh, not quite. Not quite.
Almost.
Almost there. That nurse can be pushed out of the way as she's dying. So what you'll do is you want to try and sort of shoot her quickly. Oh, I don't know how that worked, but that works.
Yeah, somehow she cooperates wonderfully, and she just, like, it's like he's on roller skates. She just push out of the way. Other times she just deplants to the spot. I don't know how it works exactly, but you can save about 3 seconds if you get past her. It's very nice, but when you don't get it, it can be not the nicest feeling.
Yeah, it's somewhat consistent in terms of trying to get past her, but
yeah,
you get some days where it just doesn't happen. I am going to try and do something cool here involving lights. So normally for this next cutscene coming up, Harry's flashlight will stay on, but hopefully... Yes, there we go.
We got one.
You can turn the light off as you exit that menu, and you get a cool dark cutscene as opposed to the normal light cutscene.
If you get 2 of them, it's a perfect dark.
Yes. And in the depths of the hospital now, Harry is going to find a nice little hospital bed, and he's going to find a little picture.
What's this?
The picture is of a lesser, although Harry thinks it looks quite a bit like Cheryl. He's not entirely wrong. And this is sort of the end of the hospital. There is one more kind of major thing that happens in hospital. It's called, I think it's called the doctor skip. There's a doctor that kind of blocks the way for the exits of the hospital, and his position.
Like that doctor.
He's not the nicest doctor. They should take his medical license away. He does more harm than good, I find. He's actually. Oh, he was in the way there a little bit. He's more. He's more bouncer than doctor, I say. I think he's a security guard on a weekend job as a doctor.
Was I dreaming?
So following this cutscene, we are going to just try and strafe into this desk to pick up this key. Now, I know many people casually that have tried to progress past this point, but have forgotten to pick up the key, or didn't realize there was a key to pick up on the desk.
Yeah, we've all done it once.
At least once. I think I've certainly done it in a speedrun as well.
Yeah, the game will let you go to all the way to the antique shop, and It will let you think that you've got the key, go to the door. Nope, can't get in. Back to the hospital. Always fun.
Yeah, it's the longest, I think, minute and a half backtrack you'll ever do in a game.
And you won't make that mistake again.
At least you hope you won't make that mistake again.
Yeah.
So yeah, the antique shop. This is probably the bane, I think, of most Silent Hill runners. This is where the iconic, I think iconic's the right word to use here, romper skip takes place. But thankfully, we do not do that here today. We get to just walk past him, say hello, and move on. That's the skip where you'd sort of get hit in that transition as we go down the stairs. And Harry starts to float, which is pretty cool. But we're going to stay grounded. Harry hasn't earned his wings today. He's got to find his daughter first, then he'll earn his wings. Yeah, there's a very, very cool cutscene with Harry entering this hole. We actually see Sybil there. Believe it or not, she does exist. I forgot to do my quick turn there. It's kind of ironic, really. Maybe not ironic, but I find it strange that you've got Sybil, who is a police officer, someone who has training and a special set of skills, lets a civilian go through a very dark hole first. I don't think that would quite fly in the real life, but
No, definitely not.
Thankfully, this is video games, and we don't necessarily need logic. So there he is. There's the romper. Thankfully, just brushed past me. And we're going to go to the actual second boss of the game now.
We're doing this legit.
Completely legit. No glitches. So this next boss is called Twin Feeler, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's basically the larva that becomes Float Stinger in a while. He's going to burrow off, and yeah. So we don't see him. We don't see him in the 90% run. So this is kind of new. If you're used to watching the 90% run, you don't see this part.
Do you want to explain the strat here, Saff? Because you kind of came up with this.
I didn't really come up with it, but you basically take 3 steps backwards on the grate. You want him to. You try to avoid him burrowing into the ground, basically again. So you're gonna manipulate him so you're by the fence on the ground, like grate. And you take a couple of steps backwards. You face in a certain direction, just forward. And he should spawn behind you. You strafe away very quickly. And you turn around, shoot him up close range. 5 or 6 shots, mostly 6 shots, and you can get like a 1 cycle if you do it correctly. And it will avoid him going back into the ground. And yeah, if he's like going over the fence, then he won't go back into the ground, which is very nice.
So, quick question, actually, in regards to that fight, because I know way back in the old days, for the out of bounds is even a thing for 90%, I believe runners would actually get the hunting rifle there, wouldn't they?
Yes, correct.
Is it
The
not
rifle
useful
needs to be used in these
for
runs.
all bosses?
It can be used as a safety, but we normally have enough shells to get through the game.
All right.
You'd have to waste quite a few of them to need the rifle by the end of the game. So
Yeah,
especially if you get a 1 cycle twin feeder, you should be fine. You won't need the rifle. And if you did want to pick it up as a safety,
just cats.
Just cats. And it doesn't actually cost you time if you did want to pick it up as a safety, but it would cost you time just equipping it at the end of the game before the last boss.
Yeah, so it's a cool little backup.
But shotgun is fine.
Yeah, I think we get about, is it 48 shells we get, I think? Because you get 12 shells per box on easy.
It's 48. Also,
yeah.
GG's on that fight.
Oh, thank you. That was a much, very, very clean fight, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've got, boss number 3, called Float Stinger, which is quite a cool fight, actually. I quite like it. There's a certain rhythm to it. He can sting us.
This is the adult version.
Yes. So we'll do a few little strafes. I'm going to try and space my shots out a bit as well. Or...
Yeah, this guy kind of has a cool.
Ah.
There's this thing.
That
So we
wasn't
like to
too
count
bad.
some shots there. He has kind of a cooldown mechanic where if you shoot too early, if you just spam shots, you're not going to do a lot of damage to him. So you want to like wait a little bit. So we do a little strafe. So it gives a little cooldown, so you can keep doing enough damage that you kill him with enough shots. Basically, normally takes between 12 and 14. You don't want to go over 14 because you want to keep your shells. So
Yeah,
we like
and
we like to strafe and just give him some time to recover before shooting again. Because
The
if you
strafe-
spam, you're going to waste too many shots.
yeah, the strafing's really cool as well because it helps you time out a bit as well, so you don't have to worry about counting, seconds or anything like that. It's just a quick
Yeah.
strafe, shoot again, and then that's normally enough to do it.
You have like a full 3 seconds to shoot him without losing time. But if you go over that, you will be officially losing time. I think that's how it works. So
Yeah, I think it's quite a nice fact as well because if you get hit as you shoot him, or it rather, it doesn't really cost you too much because you've got that nice recovery in between.
yeah,
You'd have to wait to shoot again anyway, so it's quite nice.
you just got to be
And-
careful because it does do a fair bit of damage with his sting. So you have to be careful you don't get stung too many times.
Yeah, so we took one sting there, which I believe is the first bit of damage we've taken all run actually, which is very
Yeah,
good
not
for this
bad.
point. But now we've got the dreaded sewers, which casually I think a lot of people get lost in. Thankfully, speedrun wise, we know the area. We can do it quite well. Nice.
Very nice.
So there's 4 enemies down here. Probably more like that was harsh. I don't think there's any getting past
Rude.
that one. He was rude, wasn't he? So I refer to them lovingly as Guy 1, Guy 2, Guy 3, and Guy 4. Guy 1 was very nice. Guy 2 was not so nice. Guy 2 is actually Guy 3, so we have to go back that way on the way back from this section. But we're going to get a key to exit the sewers, or attempt to exit the sewers. Now, I like to strafe here. I know other people like to sort of just turn and run, but
Yeah,
I like
that's straight
the comfiness of strafing there. And you'll see there's creatures hanging from the ceiling as well. I think it's very rarely they can hit you.
So as we mentioned earlier, having your light off doesn't really affect these guys, unfortunately. If they're going to mess up your run, they're going to mess up your run. It's just
Nice.
if they want to.
Yeah, he
Very
was
nice.
nice to me on the way back. I'll forgive him for now.
Also, these guys are so fast on hard as well. It's just ridiculous.
Oh, they are, and they do change their positions between difficulties as well. So for hard
They
mode,
do.
if you're doing, I think 10 stars is the main one, you'd notice it. The second guy isn't actually there, at least on the way through it. I think on the way back he starts to appear. The sewers, I think these are well looked after sewers. There's a little bit of green around, but
They're
I
pretty
think
clean.
I'd spend a night or two down here if I had to, Not that I particularly want to spend nights in a sewer, but
If you had to.
yeah, it's better than some hotels I've stayed in.
What hotels have you stayed in, Mac?
Not very good ones, apparently. Oh yeah, I like to turn the light off for this bit because there's, I call them roaches. I don't know what the actual name for them is.
I think they're called creepers, if I'm not mistaken.
Creepers sounds right, actually,
Creepers? But nobody calls them creepers.
yeah. No. Roaches, I think, is the common thing for them. But I turn my light off for them because I don't think they're light sensitive, but I just tend not to risk it. Now, I don't know why Harry was so enthralled with that little bit of sewer water there. It might be because there's a key in there. But I do appreciate his dedication to finding his daughter, that he'll literally stick his hand in sewage to try and find her. It's very cool of him. Quite like James from Silent Hill 2, sticking his hand down that nice toilet to get a wallet. You do have to sort of kind of step back at some point and question, who are these people and why do they do the things they do?
To find their loved ones.
They will stick their hands down areas that they should not be sticking their hands down in.
Yeah.
Apart from Heather, she's kind of cool. Yeah, that's Sua's done.
Conscious.
We're now
So we got
making
another
our way.
romper coming up here going into the resort.
Yeah. There's quite a few rompers coming up actually. This one is normally okay. And I say normally okay. He can be a bit excited. No, he's fine there. I think. I can kind of hear him. He's too far back to make any difference though. We're about to walk through the resort where there's, I think, what I assume to be about 100 rompers at any given time waiting to pounce on you. It's more like 3 rompers. There's a particular line that you can take where you don't really have them worry you for this next section. So I like to sort of count like 11 or 12 steps here and then turn my light off and then just aim Harry left a little bit. This is an area where if you're not familiar with it, doing it in the darkness can be a bit of a problem. You might find it's a bit disorientating. You'll also notice as well that the frame rate has tanked quite a bit. It's very common for this game for the frame rate to tank in a few areas. Now, thankfully, I'm playing on the NTSC version, so the frame rate is a bit more stable, but you'll find on the PAL version, it's probably a bit less agreeable.
It's like slow motion.
Yeah. So while you can run this game or this category on the PAL version, I wouldn't recommend it because it's not as comfy. But if it's all you've got, then yeah, by all means.
Very nice. That's one of the worst movements in the game. Getting into that boat.
Yeah.
Very awkward.
And leaving it is quite fun. It's just a nice little strafe to the left, turn the light off. And we turn the light off because we have our best friends in the world, the rompers. Believe it or not, they are here as well. And this is quite a tight area. So you can hear him. He's, yeah, okay, good. Him being excited paid off. And there's the other one. I've had it before where they've actually chased me down this entire section. And chase me. And that was not fun. I think that was a PB pace run as well when that happened. I think this is when I was gunning for sub 31 on any percent. And yeah, they did that, did me dirty. So again, this area, you want to do this in as much darkness as possible. Again, really just to offset any issues you might have with the air screamers chasing you down.
Also, this is a fun little door going into the lighthouse. Harry will just decide to bonk it if he wants to, like there.
There we are. And
there's nothing you can do about it unless you want to slow down.
And yeah, the bonking's not too bad. It's like, I think it's adds up to about a second or so.
Yeah,
something like that. I love this game to pieces. I love the design. I love the atmosphere. I would just like to have a chat with whoever designed this lighthouse with tank controls in mind. You'll see that I'm kind of having to make Harry walk every now and then just to make him go down a bit easier. That is the lighthouse done. I'm trying to think if there's any other games where I've played where I've been as annoyed at a control scheme and an area both at the same time. But
just the design in general.
Yeah, that particular area pips it. Probably a top 10 list of that somewhere. A very obscure list. Now this dog is nice. So the dog that spawns there, he normally spawns on the way in. Thankfully, on the way in, we managed to do a little bit of kind of manipulation. So he didn't spawn. But way out, he's always there. Now sometimes it'll be down on the stairs. Other times it will be out of the way like it was then.
Yes, a nice orangey there.
Very nice. And,
so Sewer 2 isn't half as long as first time we go around, so it's a very simplistic run through here.
Yeah, I think it's about...
There are some scratchers, and there is a mumbler here as well. You see him for the first time, I think, unless you go to do the Kaufman side quest.
That's it, yeah. That's another version difference, yeah, is the NTSC versions. I think, apart from the Japan version, you'll have the grey children, but the
right.
Japanese and the PAL versions will have these mumblers, that enemy that we just saw on the side there.
Yeah. But that guy is always there, I think, on every version, as far as I know.
Yeah, I think so as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
there's another guy.
Oh, two of them. Nice.
The lucky mumbler.
He's blessed this run, same as JC did for the BCR. So coming up, this is where we'd normally do the amusement park skip. PAL players will know this area quite well. You'll also see quite a lot of slowdown here. So that enemy, we'd normally use the red liquid or the Aglyphotis on to basically skip this entire section and kill Sybil. For some reason, that creature, that larval stalker, is credited as Sybil. Don't quite know why, but as a speedrunner, I'm very thankful. But we are now, yeah, we're gonna say hi to Sybil. She's not too happy to see us. She's a little bit possessed. If you have the Aglyphotis, you can actually save her.
This is quite a disturbing part, I find.
Nice.
Nice.
That was
part one done.
very smooth. Yes, so Sybil will shoot you. If she shoots you, she does a lot of damage to you.
On any difficulty.
And you'll notice that I have to drop my gun after 6 shots. Because
Hey, nice.
very nice fight. Yeah, so after 6 shots with the shotgun, on easy mode, you have to reload it. Now, the best way to do that is just to drop your aim button and re-aim. On easy, that's a reload. Whereas I think on other difficulties, you have to actually physically reload it, either through the menu or by trying to shoot again. So easy mode is very nice. Now that Sybil's dead, we're entering nowhere. We're going to see a nice image of Alessa. So IIRs in chat if you've got them.
Final part. This is the final part of the game. And it's nowhere, it's just all over the place, basically. It's a mixture of everything you've seen in the game so far. Ooh, it's a hospital. It's very surreal.
Yeah,
My personal favorite part of the game too.
It
But
is.
as a speedrunner, it can be very confusing when you're learning it.
I think casually it's not uncommon for people to spend, a couple of hours here trying to figure out where to go and what they've got to do. Whereas in the speedrun, it's about, 7 minutes, I think, if that.
Yeah, less than 10 anyway.
There we go. So that's a nice little pickup there. You can kind of miss that hitbox a bit if you're sort of too far to the left or too far to the right. I often will call Harry hamster-eyed Harry, just because he does have the vision of a hamster at the best of times. And we've got our Zodiac puzzle coming up, which is quite nice. So this is where you got to count the limbs on the creatures, and then you'll put in how many limbs they've got.
I got stuck on this for ages as a kid for the first time. I didn't know what was happening.
Because I think that it's a little bit misleading with one of them, and you think, oh, it's this number, and then it's not.
Yeah.
And then alert puzzle. So let's try and do this quick.
So when you're on good pace and you're doing these puzzles, these aren't particularly hard puzzles, but when you're on good pace and you're trying not to choke them, it's very monka.
Very.
Just three of them in quick succession.
It's sort of like a gauntlet, really, this final bit, both in-game and as a speedrun as well. It's sort of everything that you've kind of been doing through the run up to this point. It's sort of like a final test, if you will. There's a lot of movement tech as well. There's a particular point where we had to dodge a larval stalker coming up. It's quite comfy once you know how to do it. Also, I love this. Harry's just kind of staring at a clock. I don't often do this when my clock is bing bonging, but Harry's he's made of different stuff. I mean, he doesn't take any damage from that, thankfully. He's curious, yeah. He's like, oh, what is the time? Oh, it's Stone of Time.
It's like me doing a Silent Hill 2 run. What is the time?
Clock RNG, that's what he's doing. And then, final puzzle of the game. Nice. In my head, what I do there, and this is something that Saff put me onto actually, is I like to go through jingle bells in my head. And if you press the buttons,
I swear.
it does. If you press the buttons to the tune of Jingle Bells, you'll never fail it. Never. unless you're aiming wrong. But as long as you're aiming right, it's it's very nice.
Yeah, you want to shoot her really, really close as well. Otherwise, she can take a while to fall on the ground and die. So you want to be safe with this one and just go right up into her face before shooting her.
Yeah, and she's quite agreeable. She'll go down in 2 shots, and unlike other games in the series, she won't worry about. Oh, I meant to unlock that door. Whoops. That's another thing. You need to have your light on to unlock doors.
Yeah.
Otherwise, Harry can't see the locks. And this next bit, I love this bit casually.
Where's the dagger?
Where is the dagger? But seeing this casually with people that don't have the Ring of Sacrifice and they're taking the sword, the weird tentacle Cthulhu monster in that fridge will obviously peek out and unfortunately do you massive harm. I think even speedrunning as well, depending on if you've put the ring on first or you've pulled the sword out first, you can still sometimes get caught out by that. Who likes jelly beans? There's 39 flavors. What flavor do you guys like? Harry, my guy, he likes rust flavor because he drops them all on the floor. But we do that to get a key, which is one of the final
keys. This is how
keys
I
we
open
need.
jelly beans as well.
Honestly, it's same. The floor adds taste to them. He's adding 1 extra flavor. There's actually 40. So we've got our final dodge of the game coming up, which is called Nowhere Dodge. So I'm going to try and angle this right and turn my light off. Nice. Got past them.
Very nice. So there's a little trick we do there we try and hug the trolley, just like aim to the left of the trolley and kind of brush off it. And it's a nice little strat. Works maybe 7 out of 10 times.
Yeah,
I don't exactly know why, but it's just better position than just going for the YOLO, hugging the wall. And I definitely recommend it, even for like top runners. So,
and we're about to enter the sort of penultimate room. So there's a little bit of lore dump here about Cheryl and the Lesser being 2 people of the same half. But because we're speedrunning, we don't need to know that. We just know there's
lying dormant, whatnot.
That's it. Half the soul is lost.
Yeah.
So final puzzle door. This is where we're putting all the items in. Again, depending on how you do this, if you sort of mash X, you'll examine the door again, which you don't want to do. So I like to tap X and then my inventory button to get straight through. Yeah, final stairs and then final boss. So time's coming up very soon. We're gonna meet Cheryl. The entire game we've been running, trying to win the Father of the Year award. And here she is, in all her glory. We're going to take 4 walking steps. We're going to wait for her to charge up an attack. And then we're going to just blast her. And that's time.
GG's. What a run.
Thank you. I think that might be PB, actually. That felt very good.
That is very possible.
Yeah.
Cheryl.
Oh, that's good RTA. Yeah. I think this very well could be IGT PB. Yeah, sped up voices.
Cheryl.
We can't skip this cutscene. Harry, very upset that he's done Cheryl in like that. He had no choice though.
Cheryl.
You just couldn't catch up with her.
No. Only was a bit faster at the start of the game.
Right?
And there's the sped up music, which I'll just skip because I think that can get DM'd the aid, but that bit should be fine. And there he is. He was dreaming
Harry.
all along. Very sad. And we've got bloopers here, which are always fun to show. I can show these or I can skip straight to... Sorry?
You can watch them. You went like really underestimated, so we have time.
Yeah, it's just sort of going through all the characters you meet through the game. Michael Kaufman, who we see in the hospital. There's a side quest to save him as well, but we avoid him. Unless you're doing good plus, in which case you don't avoid him. There's also a very creepy smile coming up from Cheryl, which I just every time gets me. Who smiles like that?
Still not as bad as Dahlia, though.
The Dahlia one's pretty cool. The Alessa, the thumbs up. But I love this one. So that's saying good job. Good run. Dahlia's going to give us the PB kiss. I think my PB for this is a 33:01. So as long as the time end of that is below that.
It's like when your aunt visits for Christmas.
Here he is, the main attraction, Mr. Mason himself.
The Chad.
I love the sly smile and the little arm swing he does. Okay, he knows what he's done.
Daughter? What daughter?
He's been a good dad.
He has. Oh wow, that is a big
32:29.
PB. That is
32:29. Very nice.
32 seconds PB, I think, actually.
Hey, big congrats. You'd love to see
The
it.
marathon PB.
Thank you very much.
Very well done, sir.
All right, now that we are at the end of the run, though, a couple of questions. One, do you have any shout-outs you'd like to give it all?
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, Saff. Saff is a very, very good friend, very good runner of this game as well. He has actually world record in this category. So do check Saff out. He's good people. Lots of people as well. Like you've got Death Tropes, you've got Aaron, you've got Bo Rizzle. They're all very good people to watch if you like watching this game too. And of course, you've got myself. I run this too. That's the underscore McSqueezy. I think, yeah. Thank you, Ek, as well, for the opportunity for this as well. That's really appreciated. It's very cool to have done this.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yeah, it's been a fun run. As well, if anyone wanted to find you on Twitch or anything else, where can they find you?
Yeah, absolutely. So twitch.tv/Mr_McSqueezy. That's where you'll find me. I'm live most days doing things like Silent Hill. And Saff, do you want to do yours?
No, I'm good. You've pretty much said